Hello, hello, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say call on Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Gods. There ain't no other God besides him. Only the ones that he made, which is Yahweh Shai, the angels, and then the angels, the lower angels that are on the earth, which are the children of Israel. Other than that, there ain't no other gods that he created. They all fake. Much love to the beautiful Yahweh Shai, his only begotten son. He died for the children of Israel so that he may cover their blood with the new covenant and be brought into the agreement and to be forgiven before all of these times happen and to be exempt from judgment, Yahweh willing. Much love to the beautiful children of Israel, whoever they may be among the chosen, whoever they may be among the children of Israel. Much love to the beautiful, new covenant prophets. They do everything in their power, which is the Akim. They do everything in their power to give us updates and give us the breakdowns and unlock the secrets of the Bible so that we may know everything and we understand it. They do everything in their power to show you how Ba'ashem Yahushua that they love him and they fear him. Much love to the Akwaf, the beautiful women that's in the word. And whether you got a man or not, you still fear the laws and statutes and commandments of Yahweh. You listen and you learn in silence. Coming back at you with another video through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Today's lesson is called Good Sayings, because I usually check out the book of Songs of Solomon or the book of Psalms, and they got a lot of sayings for you and what you deal with day to day, and how to handle certain situations, how to navigate, your time living, for our fellow brothers and sisters and our, Israelites that want to understand, and then it'll help you have more of an understanding why things are where they are and how to navigate, through these environments and through these, whether it be small or great situations, whether it be, some spiritual problems or you dealing with mental or physical or materialistic problems. It'll help you balance that out. And overall, it do help you, in your journey through life. And they very helpful sayings, I usually look at them and have an understanding. Some of them I don't understand, some of them are like, they would say some of the precepts are sealed. Only the higher up Israelites would understand them and give you the proper breakdown so you don't get it wrong. Because sometimes my interpretations be kind of off, for things that I don't understand. So sometimes some things I don't understand, I tend to skip. But, overall, it do help you understand more about the Bible, more about how Ba'ashem Yahushua wants you to live and how to deal with different day-to-day things, Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I could start at the top of Solomon. Solomon is pretty cool. It says the Songs of Songs, which is Solomon's. It says, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. It says, because of the savor of thy good ointments. It says, thy name is an ointment poured forth. It says, therefore do the virgins love thee. The virgins are talking about the brothers that's in the word. When the Lord is talking about the daughters, he actually referring to the men first for some reason. But when he refers to the virgins, he refers to the brothers of Israel, the men. It says, the king hath brought me into his chambers. It says, we will be glad and rejoice in thee. We will remember thy love more than wine. The upright love thee. That's right. It says, I am black but comely. Yes, Solomon was black. It says, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar. It says, as the curtains of Solomon. Well, this is actually the Lord actually speaking. It says, look not upon me because I am black. It says, because the sun have looked upon me. It says, my other children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard have I not kept. And then you go into the slavery, with the children of Israel, on how they created everything, but we at a time to where we don't own anything at all. We don't really have much, It can diverse though. You got some Israelites that did come up and they, Yahweh did put a lot of leniency on us, but overall, a lot of us is still, in that situation, so we don't really own too much. We don't really have too much. It says, tell me, O thou whom my soul loveth, where thou feedest and where thou makest thy flock to rest at noon. It says, for why should I be as one that turneth aside by the flocks of my companions? It says, if thou know not, O thou fairest among women. It says, go thy way forth by the footsteps of the flock. It says, and I feed thy kids beside the shepherds of the tents. I have compared thee, O my love. It says, to company of the horses of the Pharaoh's chariots. Thy cheeks are comely with the rows of jewels, thy neck with the change of gold. We will make thee the borders of gold with studs of silver. It says, while the king sitteth at his table, my sparkling art sendeth forth the smell thereof. A bundle of myrrh is my well-beloved unto me. It says, he shall lie all night betwixt my breasts. It says, my beloved is unto me as a cluster of campfire. It says, in the vineyards of Agedi. So this, yet again, this is men, or this is Solomon is a man speaking to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, as in the way of a woman. And the Lord ain't human, so we don't understand his ways. We understand his ways, but I'm just saying the Lord is not human, so he don't look at everything the way we look at it, and how we look at it. So a lot of people could get this wrong, and he could be thinking they talking to the women, but he actually talking to the men. And on top of that, they would think that the Lord was into sodomy or something like that, when it has nothing to do with that. The Lord loved the men. The men came first, and like I said, the man was the original woman in a way, and they came first. And when he refers to Israel, whether they be man or woman, he refers to them as all, in the category of a woman, because Israel is the bride of Yahweh. So at the end of the day, I don't need to break it down. Everybody, if people reading this, listening to this, they know, and you don't have to dig so deep or be so deep or feel some type of way about it when you understand it. It says, behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair. Yes, Yahweh is fair. Yahweh is balanced. And I hate hearing that from other people that don't know Yahweh, that question the Lord, and they question life, and they question why evil is so great. Why to their mind they think that the good is not relevant. While evil people do wicked things and still gain an advantage compared to good people that do good things and make it nowhere. And they don't have no understanding of the Bible. They don't have no understanding of the balance. And when you have more understanding of all these things, then you'll understand that the balance is perfect. It's perfect. Right now, yes, evil is outweighing the good, but like I said, when the end times come and these things kick in, the good is going to terminate the evil. It's going to balance everything out. So Yahweh is going to take care of everything, but that doesn't say that there ain't no good in the world. It's good everywhere. You got a lot of good people, got a lot of good intentions, got a lot of good spirits. It's a balance. So it can't be, all evil, like sometimes I do feel like that too, but I know that there's the balance, and the balance is perfect. And like you said, the Lord is fair. That is true. Yahweh is fair. It says that thou hast dove's eyes. Behold, thou art fair, my beloved. Yeah, pleasant. Also, our bed is green. The beams of our house are cedar, and our rafters are fir. So we can go to more. Ah, these flies are killing me. Ooh, he tearing me up. Ooh. Okay, this is not Psalms. I'm gonna go to Psalms. Oh, Proverbs. That one is better. It says Proverbs 17. It says, better is a dry morsel. It says, better is a dry morsel and quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. So I don't know about that one. That one, I think that one going to like, okay, I do get this one because I'm in this situation right now. Compared to how I was living a couple of months ago, like 4 or 5 months ago, I was staying with my sister, and I was dealing with a lot of things, a lot of drama. I was dealing with a lot of kids. I don't got no kids, and I was dealing with a lot of struggle. I was dealing with a lot of challenges, and it wasn't coming from me, really. It was really coming from my sister and how she lived her life. Her life is what somewhat on the decline, to where she got to depend on people to exist at this moment right now. She ain't got no job, she ain't got much, and she would low-key kind of take her anger out on me, attack me, slander me, get mad at me because I simply was taking care of myself and I simply had a job, which something that she didn't have. And some people mess up their lives to the point to where they got to be strong enough. If they break it, they got to be strong enough to fix their lives. And sometimes some people don't have that strength. Sometimes Yahweh hasn't given them that chance or that opportunity to fix or change anything. So for now, back then I was dealing with a lot of problems, dealing with a lot of her friends, and they tracking, they coming in and out, no control over what I got, what I can say, what goes on in her house, nothing. Loud kids, loud people. It's a lot. It was a lot. So I can honestly compare myself. I can honestly understand this precept. It says, better is a dry morsel and quietness wherewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. That's right. That's right. A lot of struggle, Better rather be boring and nothing to do and sitting in your house where you got a peace of mind than, like you said, than a house full of sacrifices with strife. Noisy people. The house ain't your house. You ain't got your name on the lease, so you can't tell them to shut up. You can't kick them out. You can't do nothing. So, when the Lord finally allowed to put it on my heart to move, and when I moved and got my own place, I realized how all of that just died. Everything died. The noise died. The kids died. The drama went away. Me dealing with my sister and whatever problems she got, gone. All of it gone. And for the first time in a long time, with me staying with people and place to place, I can honestly say me being by myself is the best thing that ever happened to me. And I ain't gonna lie, it do be boring, but at the end of the day, like, it don't have to be boring, but, it is good to stay to yourself and, do what you want to do and be to yourself and just know that, especially for me, just knowing, like, where I came from, I'm like, man, it can't get any better than this. Well, it is getting better, but in my mind, I got it the best. I don't got no kids. I don't have no girlfriend, nobody in my ear. I don't stay with no roommates. I don't stay with nobody. You know, my apartment ain't much. It's pretty cheap, even though it's not much of an apartment to me. You know, it's a start, you know, and I'm happy with that. So we can move on. Proverbs 17, chapter 17, verse 2, it says, a wise servant shall rule over a son that causeth shame. That one don't really apply. It says, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. I don't know that one. It says, the finding pot of silver and the furnace for gold, but Yahweh trieth the hearts. That's true too. A wicked doer, it says, the finding pot of silver and the furnace of gold, separating the good from the evil, the people who don't believe, the people who do. It says, the finding part is for silver and the furnace for gold. It says, but Yahweh triumph the hearts. He judged everybody. Well, that's what I got out of it. It says, a wicked doer give heed to false lips. That's true. You got wicked people that encourage dumb, wicked people to do certain things and to commit certain acts. You know, or if a person is found to be in trouble, or they the ones that started the problem, they like to be comforted by people joining their side. And some people that don't even understand, or they do understand, they join their side and agree with them to make them feel better. You know, that right there is probably what it's talking about. It says, a wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, which is kind of, well, yeah, that's pretty much what that means. It says, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. That's right. Wicked people support wicked people. That's true. It says, whoso mocketh the poor reproaches his maker. That's right. You got to respect. Well, it could go into the Israelites too. And then it could just go into, seeing your brother down. You know, seeing your brother that don't got much. Seeing your brother begging on the streets or just needing help. Go. Fucking noisy. Right, seeing your brother down, like Yahweh said, love thy neighbor as much as you love yourself. It also goes into brother. Love your brother as if you love yourself. So with that being said, you know, it's good to look out for people, especially if the Lord send them your way and you know you got it. You know, look out for them. You know, like me, you know, I seen the kid out there hustling and, you know, begging, you know, trying to get ends meet for whatever he need. You know, and he didn't have much, you know, he just trying to make a way for himself because he ain't got no money. He down, you know, he in that poor state. And I understand that, you know, so I went into the store. When I came out, I gave him $5, you know, and for whatever he need, you know, and, you know, he was thankful for that. And, you know, the one reason why is because that first reason. And the second reason is because I was in his position. Now I moved somewhat a little bit more above, not too far from him, but above, you know, to where I'm doing better. And I'm drug free, you know, because I used to do it for drugs and all that. I don't know what he does this for, but he a kid. It might be for drugs too. No biggie. You know, we all go through our phases. We all have our problems and our addictions. But I respected that and I honored that, and I gave him, you know, some change. You know, I looked out for him and took care of him. You know, like, you know, because I would want somebody to do that for me. You know, and that go for anybody that the Lord may send upon you, send your way. And it ain't got to be everybody. It just got to be some specific people, you know, and it happens every now and then. You know you got it to give, then look out for them, then. Because you would want Yahweh to do you the same way. You would want somebody to do you the same way, you know. But it says, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished. So, you know, you got a lot of people. You got a lot of evil people that get to a higher status in life, and they tend to laugh at everybody that's below them or beneath them. You know, they tend to make fun of people. A lot of them lose their heart. You know, a lot of them don't have no respect. They're arrogant. They like to kick people while they're down. You know, and, you know, some of them like to sabotage people to stop them from coming up. So this is for them. Like it says, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished. At some point, Yahweh is going to catch up to this person. It might take a while. It might be to the point in your eyes where you feel like they just getting away with murder. They just getting away with murder. And when you take your mind off them and you move on with your life without your knowledge, something didn't happen to him. One day it'll come back to you and be like, oh, really? Oh, it's about time. That's how it works. So it says, children's children are the crown of old men. That is true. It says, and the glory of children are their fathers. That is true. That is true. That's one of the main things that can give a man a great joy, is by taking care of his kids and seeing his children take on his legacy, especially if it was a good one. And it could be the husband and the wife. You know, the wife, they got good kids that carry their name right. They go to school. They do everything that they got to do. They become good parents. They raise their kids, and their kids raise their kids right, and they got an awesome generation. That way, when the parents pass away, they done left behind something that they proud of. You know, they make them way happier. You know, so that right there goes. That right there hit, because we got bad generations. We do. We have a lot of us got a lot of bad generations. A lot of us got a lot of messed up family members. You know, sometimes parents try to raise their kids right, but the world gets to them. Now the kids turn out to be wrong. You know, things like that and things in that nature, you know. And sometimes the parents are not attentive, so the kids grow up to be wrong, and they grow up to be wicked, and sometimes they turn into their parents. And they pass on the wickedness to wickedness, and it goes on and on. So, you know, by you having a good genealogy, by you having a good legacy, and your kids is being raised right, that's a good thing. It says, excellent speech becometh not a fool, much less do lying lips a prince. Yeah, it's good to speak uprightly. It's good to be an honest person. It's good to be nice. Yes, it is. Much less do lying lips of a prince. It says, a gift is as a precious stone in the eyes of him that have it. That is true. It says, whithersoever he turneth, it prospereth. That's right. I don't know if this gift go into, like, you know, talent or go into something that Yahweh gives you that can get you a long way, or that can get you an advantage. But it can go into both, in my eyes. It says, he that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth a matter separate very friends. That's right. That's right. You see, it's day-to-day things. You know, you kicking it with your best friend, but now you don't let somebody in your circle, and they done wedged and divided you and your best friend off lies and rumors. You know, simple stuff like that. Simple stuff like that. It says, a reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. That is true. No matter how much you beat a fool, no matter how much you beat a wicked person, sometimes they don't change. They can go through hell and high water. They still won't change. Compared to a man that is wise, a reproof entereth more into a wise man. If he is punished by Yahweh, he acknowledges it and does better the next round, compared to a wicked person that can get beat, that can get punished 1,000 times by Yahweh and still not change. That one hit. That one hit. It says, a reproof entereth more into a wise man than 100 stripes into a fool. Damn. They got to decide when they change. You know? It says, the evil man seeketh only rebellion. That is true. That is true. Therefore, a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. That way, the Most High is going to make them pay. He going to make them pay. It says, an evil man seeketh only rebellion. Yup, they only rebel you. I done ran into a lot of these men, whether it be men or women, that don't like to be corrected. You know, don't like advice. They look down on you because it's like, oh, how is you lesser than me giving away advice or trying to give me something to help me? You know, they don't listen. They go against the grain. You know, and the one that fit this bill is a lot of gang members. They try to, when you tell them to change their ways and stop running in the streets, you know, they don't listen. You know, next thing you know, they either end up in jail, passed away, or with a major disability. You know, and then they'll listen. When they got all this pain and all this calamity is around them, then they want to listen. But that's how I go. Evil man seeketh only rebellion. They refuse and they go against you even more. The more good you try to put in them, the more evil they push out. It's true. So it says, let a bear robbed of her whelps meet a man, rather than a fool in his folly. So I don't know that one. That one is kind of obscure. I don't understand it. It says, whosoever rewardeth evil for good. It says, evil shall not depart from his house. That is true. That's true. Don't be awarding these wicked people You know, sometimes you got to make them suffer, man. You know, and if you allow them to be around you, you forgive them and you allow them to do what they did with no terms. You didn't build no walls for them. You didn't give them no limit. You know, you don't have no rules and regulations. It's gonna be hard to get rid of them, and they're gonna keep trying to run you over. That's how wicked a lot of people are. Some of them don't change, and they still try to do the same old thing that they always do. They always do it. No matter how much you try to help them, no matter how much you try to bless them or approve of them, they're not gonna change. Right? You approving of people that don't even like you. You supporting them and they hate you. You gotta watch out for people like that. It says the beginning of strife is when one letteth out water. So this water can actually go into knowledge. Therefore, leave off contention before it meddle with. It be meddled with. So the beginning of strife is as when one letteth out water. Yeah, stress. A lot of stress. A lot of stress, a lot of stuff that's going on in your life, a lot of pressure, a lot of anger. It says, therefore, leave off contention before it be meddled with. That's right. Before you conflict with it, let it go. He that justifieth the wicked and he that commandeth the just. It says, even they both are an abomination to Yahweh. That's true. You got criminals putting away criminals. You got criminals judging whether people are innocent or guilty, man. That's disrespectful to Yahweh. You're not even just right compared to you. No, you could be judging this person, or you could be trying to act out a punishment on this person, and you ain't no better than him. You know? And then you got a person that we all know about that do it both. The people that run, these Edomites, these white people that run the world, they criminals that run everything and tell you what's right and what's wrong. How can you tell somebody what's right and what's wrong and you ain't right yourself? You corrupted yourself. How? Yahweh don't like that, you know? It says, wherefore is there a price in the hand of a fool to get wisdom? It says, seeing he have no heart in it, and heart go into mind. He don't have no mind in it. So what's the point? What's the point of telling somebody, some wisdom or giving some advice when they're not going to use it, when they don't care about it? You got retards like that, and then when they smack and hit the wall, they want to finally tell you that you're right, instead of taking your advice beforehand. Sometimes you can give a person advice and you don't have nothing, and this person can have everything, you know, and they could look down on you because of that. And your advice might be right, you know, just to be helping them out, but who are you to tell them everything? And who you tell this person when they above you and their life is surrounded by materialism? So they feel like you shouldn't have nothing to say if you're not taking care of yourself, or you're not better than me. It says, wherefore is there a price in the hand of a fool to get wisdom? That's right. Seeing he hath no heart to it. Don't tell them what they don't want to know, man. Let them learn and experience it on their own. Because it's funny how a person can have materialism. It's funny how a person can have education and still be stupid. Now that one could go over people's heads. You know, that one can go over people's heads. You could have the nicest car. You know, you can have a nice home. You know, you can have a family and still be an idiot. Yeah, you can still be dumb. Yeah, you know, it was somebody that said it in a certain form about how people they use handed down knowledge, but when something new when they encounter something new or something they don't know, it's like they dumbfounded. Or when they experience something they don't understand or they don't want to know, it's like they dumbfounded. They stupid. Instead of taking it in, instead of trying to understand it, they go against it because they don't know it or it wasn't taught to them. You know, and this go into years and years and years of repeated knowledge. Sometimes that's all a person know. A person can have a high school diploma or a bachelor degree and don't know nothing about the streets. Don't know nothing about human interaction. Don't know nothing about this supposed game, what we would call it. They ain't got no game. Don't nothing. A man could go out there and know everything that he needs to know and don't even know nothing about no woman. Don't even know how to get a woman. He got cars, he got all that, he got everything that he needs, and he don't know how to get no woman. You know, situations like that. It says, a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. That's true. That's true. You can have conflict between your siblings compared to a person that don't know you at all. Person that don't know you at all and just your friend, they would love you more, you know, depending on the situation, would love you more than your own siblings would. That's true. That is true. A stranger will respect you more than your sibling would. Siblings try to cross you over because they know you family and you're going to forgive them. A stranger is not going to do that. Especially if they know you and they respect you, they're not going to do all of that. Because they know if you double cross them, no, if they double cross you one time, it's over with. Compared to your family member that you give so many times and they double cross you so many times. Like I said, a stranger will respect you more than your own family would. That's true. It says, a man void of understanding striketh hands. That's true too. And becometh surety in the presence of his friend. You got to watch out for men like that too. They quick to fight. They quick to engage things that they don't know. Like I said, simply being corrected or simply being told about something or somebody simply them coming into conflict with them. Like just words. You got to watch out for people like that too. And becoming surety in the presence of his friend. You got to watch out for men like that. A man void of understanding striketh hands. They go against you because they don't understand what you're talking about. They don't understand that advice that you're giving. They don't want it. It says, he loveth transgression that loveth strife. That's right. You got people that's running around that like problems, they like drama, and they like chaos, man. They love it. They love the struggle. You got some people that Yahweh allowed to move up, and they stay in the same state. They stay where they at. You know? And Yahweh had gave them a chance to move on and to move above and to do better. Some people like where they at. You know, it says, he that loveth transgression, that loveth strife. You love drama, you love violence, you love drinking, you love drugs, and you never want to change when change is required. You know, change, like they say, different day, same shit. Yeah, it's like that. It says, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. That's true too. That's true too. He that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. You're doing too much. And at some point, you're going to hit a limit. But the more that they do, they feel like they're going to get away with it, and they feel like nothing is going to harm them. And then, like I say, pride cometh before destruction and a haughty spirit before a great fall. Sometimes Yahweh will allow you to reach the top just to knock you down to the bottom. It happens like that, especially for wicked people that's driven off, you know, they don't believe in Yahweh. They don't care about nothing else. They care about what they doing and how they doing it to get past. They care about, you know, what they care about. And when they get to the top, it's like, finally, I'm at the top. Then the Lord, you know, flick them like a flea. You know, no, flick them away like a fly, and they fall off the top only to hit the bottom. So that can happen. He that hath a froward heart findeth no good. It says, and he that hath a perverse tongue falleth into mischief. You got people that's doing too much. It says, he that have a froward heart findeth no good. You doing too much, you moving too fast, that can actually happen to you. It says, and he that hath a forward heart findeth no good, and he that have a perverse heart perverse tongue falleth into mischief. That's right. You're talking all of that mess. You're moving too fast, you're doing too much, and the Lord show you signs that enough is enough. Stop doing this, stop doing that. You don't listen. You're sitting up there talking and running your mouth. We've all been victims of this. We all been victims of it. But it depends on how far a person is willing to go when they don't change. You know? And they keep doing bad stuff. At some point, you got to pay for that. It says, and he that have a perverse tongue falleth into mischief. Always dealing with problems because they don't know how to watch their mouth. Always befriending one person, then talking to the next person about their friend behind their back. Then they find out about it because the person that they were talking to happened to be close friends, and then he get himself into some trouble. It's simple situations like that. You got to watch out for people like that. We call them fake people, you know. It says, he that beggeth a fool doeth it to his sorrow, and the father of a fool hath no joy. That's right, because you don't respect Yahweh B'Shem outside. That can go into your parents and how they raised you. You know, if you had good parents and you a bad kid, or that can go into simply just Yahweh B'Shem outside, the Heavenly Father, and you know certain things that he would want you to do and would make you a better person. Like simply just giving like $1, you know, to a brother that's down on his luck. You know, giving them $4 or $5, giving them $1, giving them some change, giving them what you can get, what you can give. You know, hey, that's everything, man. Yahweh like people like that got good hearts. They got good intention. They're not bad people. you know, and they remember that, remember certain sayings in the Bible and stuff, you know. They remember that, and they're like, you know what? The Lord put it on my heart today to give him some change. You know, sometimes you ain't got to always do it all the time, but when sometimes the Lord hits you with that, you know, you're like, man, like, you know what? I got it today. You know, I'm going to look out for bro, you know. It says, he that beggeth a fool doeth it to his sorrow. Compared to a wicked person, he got a big old bundle of money. He got a big old bundle of money, and all you asked him for was $1 or, you know, some change or whatever you can give, and he tell you no straight to your face and tell you to go get a job. What people don't understand about Yahweh is that everybody got a position and everybody got a purpose. Sometimes some people, it ain't time for them to be exalted. Sometimes some people never will be exalted, even if they given a chance. Because the chance cometh upon all men, like it's saying in the Bible. But, you know, sometimes it's not time for some people to rise above everything or to become better. Even if they want to, you know, in the eyes of Yahweh is when he says that you are ready. That's how it works. You know, so you wonder why some people be trying their best and be trying their hardest and they don't get nowhere. You know, or they doing everything in their power to change something that it can't be changed. It's because Yahweh ain't allowed it yet. But at some point, he do allow those underdogs to come up. He do allow them to come up. So you got to be careful who you're making fun of. The same bum that be on the corner could be a CEO in less than 5 to 6 years. If Yahweh put it on his mind, like I said, Yahweh, the Lord cometh, the Spirit of Yahweh cometh upon men. At midnight when the deep sleep cometh upon men, Yahweh seal the instructions of man into their foreheads or into their mind, so that the next day you get up and you do exactly what Yahweh wants you to do. And like I said, you never know. Or this person could be he could be from going homeless and on drugs to getting clean. Next thing you know, he a manager at a certain spot and he getting paid damn near more than you. You know, certain things like that you got to look out for. But like I said, you got people like that. When they on a certain status, they look down on people that can't defend themselves, down on the weak, or down at people that's just down on their misfortune. You got all that money and all he asked for was a couple of dollars. You know, I'm reminded of these things all the time. And then I see when Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai gives me back favor compared to what I do with people on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes I don't feel like it, but then sometimes I give in and I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to look out for this person. You know, I can't see him like that, you know? Or it just was in my heart to look out for him, you know? So remember that. It says, he that beggeth a fool doeth it to his sorrow. All right, don't ask these evil people for nothing. It says, and a father of a fool have no joy. That's right. Kids, you know, kids, what they say, the kids are our future per se, you know, for the parents and all of that. So how your kid will turn out, it can either bring you shame, or it can bring you honor. You know, so your kid getting up, evolving, you know, or you know, like my life is very diverse. You know, I used to be off drugs. I used to be off in the streets, you know, ripping and running, begging, stealing, doing all this kind of stuff. You know, at first, you know, when I was younger, and I'm bringing shame to my mom's name. You know, I'm bringing shame to my parent that raised me. And she did the best that she could, and she did all she could. And, you know, what she gave up, she gave up. Can't be mad at her. It happens. But, you know, I was bringing shame to my family and bringing shame to my mom. And everybody was like, oh, Chris always going to be a smoker. Chris ain't going to never get up on his feet. You know, all he want to do is get high, play video games, smoke, draw. You know, he begging all on the streets. He's stealing. And I even have other family members encouraging their kids and using me as an example. You know, until one day, you know, my life, Yahweh allowed me to move forward. And he put his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding into me, and I started changing. And it was very painful.